Hi, this is Wald Amberstone from the Tarot School, and you're listening to 7 Minutes with Katrina Wynne. Welcome, Katrina.
Hey, Wald. What a pleasure to speak with you. I always enjoy talking with you.
We are excited that you'll be teaching at the Reader Studio, and we thank you for talking with us today. I have a question for you. You are living in a small and intimate community in the middle of the Northwest Woods, and your base of operations and the people that you deal with most seem to be in that community. But at the same time, you have a worldwide audience that you teach people elsewhere. And for many people, especially nowadays who are getting into tarot in a professional way, learning how to access that community and make it both profitable and enjoyable and letting it feed their passion, all of that actually represents a challenge of technology and energy and organization and all sorts of things. How do you manage that?
Great question. For one thing, when a person such as myself is really comfortable with being on their own and very self-directed and lives a simpler life, meaning not a lot of overhead, then it gives one more freedom and choices about what they do, because I really feel like whatever I do is because I chose to do it, I was asked to do it, I was called to do it, and I align with those things. So let me give you some practical reality about my life. I live about 4 hours from Portland, which is a major city. Over the last 17 years now, I've developed a really beautiful relationship with this one store called New Renaissance Bookshop. I've been teaching there for years. Every time I go, I work 4 or 5 days. It's kind of like the little country mouse goes to the city.
So it's a week-long commute.
I stay there for my 4 days or my 5 days, and then I come home. And I only do that maybe 2 to 3 times a year. So that's one way that I actually go out into the world and interface with people. The other thing that I do, I have a commitment once a year to do a tarot tour. I go to meetup groups. I make a point of making connections with people in different cities. And that way I get to meet my Facebook friends. I get to meet similar spirits in tarot. And I get to share with them all these amazing classes I've developed over the years. That's very much fun for me, and it's fun for them, and it gives us all an opportunity to share and exchange. Typically, whenever I'm in one of those cities, whether it be Denver or Houston or Dallas or New York or Seattle, I've also taught in New Zealand, and now I've taught in England. Sometimes I attend classes, too, which I think is important. So if I'm traveling, not only am I teaching, but I also like to take opportunities to study with other people, so there's always this wonderful exchange of learning. I do that once a year. I do it for anywhere from 2 weeks to last year it was 5 weeks. And that gives me an opportunity to meet with people and to offer my particular unique perspectives. And if there's any theme in my work, the 2 main things is spirituality and counseling skills and ethics. And also helping people feel more comfortable and more confident with their reading skills, which means developing their own reading style. Because one thing I'm very good at is helping people discover and honor their style and not feel like it's a one-size-fits-all kind of situation. Ever since I developed my Transformative Tarot Counseling certification program, which was mostly just available to people in person, and it was very much designed after the same qualities of excellence that I have been trained in my psychotherapeutic studies over the last 25 years, it's about supervision, it's about training, it's about really being the very best you can be, and yet discovering who you are uniquely. And those are the same things I was passing on to my tarot students. But it's very difficult to give people that one-on-one when I've got emails coming from all over the world. And so people have been asking me for years to offer either teleconferences or webinars. And last year I finally did extra research, and I discovered global spiritual studies. And I kind of put my big foot in the water and tried one webinar. I was very pleased with the way it worked out. I really enjoyed working with Linda Marson, so then I offered a second webinar. So what we did this year, and again, this came out of suggestions from my own students, is they wanted me to do my entire certification program, but through a webinar. I put a lot of thought into that, a lot of energy, and I've designed it in such a way that it still carries a lot of the qualities of experience and interaction and supervision, but also stands alone as a study program for people who may not be interested in that kind of support group experience. That made me feel better because I can give people more individual attention, and at the same time I can create a product that other people who prefer studying on their own can do that and download or get the DVDs and learn from that webinar. Those are the various ways that I have been able to share with the world and learn from the world, as well as, of course, using social networking and getting involved with things online.
You make it sound really easy. Here you're doing all these things. You didn't tell the story of how much detailed work goes into it and how much planning and how much personal effort goes into it. It just sounds like a nice flow. Well, I started doing this, and then I went there, and then I went around the world, and then I started teaching everybody, and then here we are.
The struggle is an internal struggle for me, Wald, because I love depth. I do depth in my readings. I do depth in my teachings. The problem was the technology, for instance, for the webinars wasn't up to the level that I needed it to be to teach the way I teach. I so love connecting with people. It's so funny. It's like I'm introverted and I'm kind of shy, but I also love connecting with people. So
there you are in the middle of the woods connecting with everybody.
Right, was not really possible 10 years ago.
No, it wasn't. The world has certainly changed.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you very much for talking with us today. It's been a pleasure. It truly has. And we really are looking forward to your study group when we get to the Reader Studio.
Thank you so much, and I know we'll have more conversations and things to share.
We will indeed. So thanks, everybody, for listening. Be sure to visit readerstudio.com. There you'll learn more about the event if you're not already thoroughly familiar with it. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you in April.